All right, Marcus Spears is here. He's here with Louisiana Fish Fry. We got the sandwich right here. What's going on, man?
Man, chilling, man. It's been a fun run for me at the Super Bowl because I just got here yesterday.
What's your max on Vegas days?
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, if anybody's a grown adult that has spent time in Vegas, you know after that 48-hour window, it's time to start winding down.
I have a similar rule about the NFL Combine. Seriously.
Yeah,
You're just like, well, I've seen everybody that needs to be seen. I've drank too many Coors Lights.
And two, like I see all these people during the year.
Yes.
You know, so
yes.
Now, I will say this. Sometimes the accommodations can extend that. if they are up to par and it's a good 2 or 3 restaurants in that whatever location.
I hear that. Hey, so I have from a defensive lineman standpoint, I had Kyle Long on the show a couple weeks ago, and he talked about how Patrick Mahomes is able to use defense's strengths against them, and his own weaknesses against the defense. He's compared to a jiu-jitsu fighter. He knows the weakness and he uses against it. When you're watching D linemen chase down Mahomes, and Mahomes, his speed is just fast enough. That's what it is, just fast enough. Yep. When you watch the nuances of how he moves behind the line of scrimmage, what stands out?
His ability to set up where he wants guys to be. And then 2, you already rush with a mindset that he's going to burn you.
Right.
And not with his legs. So your whole idea of how you approach getting after him is pressure in the center of the pocket and your defensive ends pretty much contain it. But in your mind, it's like he's not fast enough for us to slow down our rush. If you're playing Lamar Jackson or you're playing Josh Allen, you got to be cautious about getting behind him and getting behind those guys. You know the speed, you know the physicality of when Josh gets to the second level, coupled with the speed. With Pat, it's almost like, unfortunately, it's still sneaking up on you. And you look back and it's like, man, we gave up 42 yards rushing to Pat in the third quarter, and it was 2 runs. But I think it's one of them things where you got to constantly remind yourself. Yeah. It's like if you go to the grocery store and your 5-year-old is being good for like the first 30 minutes, and you forget that at some point they're going to start pulling everything off the aisle, and they're going to lose their mind and go crazy because they're going to get bored. So you kind of get complacent, and that's what happens with Pat. So you almost, for 4 quarters, you really got to respect him as a dual threat guy.
I completely agree. Joe Thuney injury obviously plays a part in this, but if you're Steve Wilkes and you're playing Mahomes right now and understanding where the pressure might come from, I mean, Nick Bosa, I think, got shut out by Penei Sewell, but still at 8 pressures. Yep. That's just what he does. Yep. What is kind of the tactic? What's the game plan, knowing what San Francisco's strengths are against Mahomes and some of the adjustments they've made?
To me, you mentioned Thuney. This is, to me, a Javon Hargrave and Armstead game. And I've always felt like when you get to this point, I mean, we've seen Chris Jones change games in Super Bowls and playoff runs.
Buffalo game.
Right? So it's just, this is actually, you take the onus on yourself as a defensive line. Because if we're going to ask any secondary to cover, it's not going to happen. Right? And now Andy has started putting Travis Kelce in these game plan specific situations where it's clearing the picture for Pat early, which he don't need help with that, but they're helping him. I think the defensive line is the most effective way. And you remember in the first matchup, Bosa was trending towards being the MVP of that game. But to me, it's interior pressure. And it's kind of become synonymous with the NFL. If you think about Aaron Donald getting after Joe Burrow in that play that could have won the Super Bowl. If you think about AD getting after Jimmy Garoppolo and forcing an interception. You think about Chris Jones last year and his ability to affect the pocket in the center. And it's always been quarterback's kryptonite. Doesn't matter who it is. If you can get that immediate pressure. And that's why they gave Javon Hargrave $90 million.
That's right.
For this particular situation.
Yeah, I mean, that literally as you said, one play, one pass rush can define a legacy. I mean, you think about the Josh Allen Shakir throw that was in the end zone. If Chris Jones doesn't put Deion Dawkins in his lap, Josh Allen is not coming on the show at 12:15.
Exactly. He makes that throw.
He's somewhere else today. And he's not here on behalf of Subway, wherever he's doing. We love Josh, but he's going to be in this seat in 2 hours.
Why should you bet with Caesars Sportsbook? 2 words. Caesars Rewards. Every bet brings you closer to the types of benefits only Caesars can offer. Hotel stays, VIP experiences, sports and concert tickets, and more. It's not just an app, it's an empire.
I want to ask about the Cowboys a little bit because there's such consternation over everything, and I know
Yeah.
that's pretty much constant over the past 30 years. Can the Cowboys, as currently constructed, win the Super Bowl?
No. And I've said it. I've went on rants about it. People always talk about how great they are. They have great individual players. But the substance of winning a championship is those key pieces that we've watched transpire over the last 10 years. A veteran, a guy that you think changes this part of your team to elevate you. And I tell people all the time, for as much as people talk about Dallas, the Los Angeles Rams traded away a Super Bowl quarterback to win one. Like, put that, I just try to always put that in context for people. Jared Goff had proven I am good enough, coupled with Sean McVay, to get there. We look at Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. Jimmy Garoppolo got there with him. But he gave away 3 first-round picks because he thought that little bit would be the difference. Now, fortunately, Brock has played well and he's elevated that position. But people forget Jalen Ramsey was acquired by the Rams. They went and got Odell Beckham Jr. They drafted well. They built Andrew Whitworth. They built this thing through substance. And Dallas sits pat every free agency. And they try to, like, sell these moves. I didn't think Brandon Cooks put them over the top for a Super Bowl. I thought Stephon Gilmore was a phenomenal piece to add. I didn't think that was over the top for a Super Bowl. Now, if you go out and you sign, by the way, this free agency defensive line class, if they are really all in, like Jerry said, Justin Madubuike is a free agent, Christian Wilkins is a free agent. You think about Josh Allen in Jacksonville is a free agent, which I don't think they need. I think DeMarcus and Micah is playing at a very high level. Devin White should be available from Tampa. They played without a linebacker. They played pro football in the NFL with no middle linebacker. And coincidentally, the 2 best defenses in the league were 2 units of the best 2 linebackers in football. But everybody wants to get me on the show and ask me, do I think Dallas is good enough? Hell no. I've been watching football a long time, dude. I ain't never seen a team play without a linebacker.
Why do you think Jerry stands pat so much? We had Thomas Dimitroff on the show a couple months ago, and he was talking about Howie Roseman. And he was saying he had to sit Howie down and say, Howie, stop saying everybody on your roster is worth a second-round pick because he's so aggressive. And he would anchor negotiations high. He's always calling on, every guy in the league is calling, he's checking. Hey, guys you would never call about, Howie's calling about and saying, hey, what's up? And I remember Cowboys fans who I mentioned saying, Jerry hasn't made an outgoing phone call in 30 years. And I don't know why Jerry, he's very, the Will McClay, the front office, they get talent, but it just seems like in the era of all in, they never actually are all in.
No, they draft as well as anybody. Right? Like, we see homegrown guys get extensions and play at a very high level. Problem is, that's not winning Super Bowls now. That's the issue. So I tell people, I go back because I'm you know how much I love the Cowboys, but I'm critical. I felt one time over these last 30 years that Jerry was actually all in. When we got Leonard Davis and Mark Colombo and Kyle Kozier and Terrell Owens and Ken Hamlin, and we added pieces that I thought would be, and those were Wade Phillips years where we went 11-5, 13-3. We got a first-round bye in the playoffs. All of this stuff was that's all in to me. When you go get Terrell Owens, you all in. You ain't just signing T.O. to be like, well, we want him to be a part of the organization and win. Now, that's a part of the star, and his star power will boost it. But if you think about that era of free agency, of we really trying to go win a Super Bowl, that's the last time.
Tell us what you're doing with the Louisiana Fish Fry.
So this is a labor of love. Is the best company on earth. I'm serious, man. Like,
no,
and I'm from Louisiana, so I'm not biased, but I'm biased. But this was a brand that I grew up,
of course,
using. My grandmother, my family. It reminds me of family functions, good times, music, and I'm from Louisiana. We fry fish. We fry the fish that we catch. But we wanted to enter the chicken space because I love chicken.
Of course.
And I had to, pull a couple of legs and twist a couple of arms to get there. But the team is super supportive. Louisiana Fish Fry is the best batter company, sauce company, anything you want to do. And we're trying to introduce it to people in the Northeast. I'm not going to mention another thing that they use up there, but this is better. So we brought you a chicken sandwich that I designed the way I like to eat my chicken sandwiches. And it's going to be the best thing you ever ate.
I
But
like this tactic of getting it into the Northeast, giving it to me. I'll go to Connecticut to just
Yeah.
evangelize. I'll just
Y'all
evangelize.
need seasoning.
We need, yep.
Y'all need seasoning. Y'all need good food that's wholesome. Because everybody I meet from the Northeast, Kev, looks like you. No meat on their bones. And I'm trying to get Darren Orlovsky to try something.
He's not going to do that.
He gonna try it with this. Cause we just unveiled the Swagu edition of the chicken
Okay, of
sandwich,
course.
and it was on So Yummy, which is,
Of course.
and Dan actually responded like, yo, I would eat that.
Wow. Wow.
Now, this sandwich has sauce. That's phenomenal.
Sure.
Obviously, it's fried in our Louisiana chicken fried batter. I put an egg over medium on it, put cheese on it, and the bread has to be soft. So within that box, Kev, when you open that box and the music and the sunshine come out, you'll understand why we're doing what we're doing.
Thanks so much for coming. This is football, man.
Appreciate it, brother.